Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
Islam Makhachev has finally accepted the super fight with Ilia Topuria because he wants to take back his #1 spot in the pound-for-pound rankings. Ilia Topuria recently became the lightweight champion by defeating Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 and took Islam's top ranking. Islam reacted by saying the UFC did this as a marketing move to build hype for the fight. He said he doesn't agree with it, but understands the strategy. Islam made it clear that when they fight, the real pound-for-pound king will be decided inside the cage.
Что ты думаешь по поводу того, что тебя сместили внезапно с первой строчки pound for pound?
Ну, это маркетинг. Они делают это специально, чтобы разогреть этот бой. Ну, у людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
Islam Makhachev is completely focused on becoming a two-division champion. At UFC Abu Dhabi, he hinted to the fans that he plans to become a double champ soon. Luke Rockhold shared his thoughts on a potential fight between Islam and Jack Della Maddalena, calling it a tough and exciting matchup. He said Islam, Topuria, and JDM are his 3 favorite fighters in the UFC right now. While Rockhold admitted JDM isn't weak in wrestling, he pointed out that Islam's lifelong experience in wrestling and grappling gives him a big edge. He also mentioned that JDM is the bigger fighter and could cause problems depending on how Islam handles moving up in weight. Having trained with Islam before, Rockhold noted that he looks much bigger now and is interested to see how he performs at welterweight.
See him beating JDM to win that welterweight title?
Tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my 3 favorite fighters in the UFC right now. You go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM. He's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown, you know. We'll see how he carries the...
7 Daniel Cormier believes Islam Makhachev's striking doesn't get the credit it deserves. He noted that Islam dominated every round against Dustin Poirier in a fight that was mostly striking, yet people still act like Dustin did well. For Cormier, that fight was clearly 5-0 before the submission. He feels Islam's dominance often gets overlooked because he makes everything look so easy. Cormier also said the tougher challenges for Islam are now at welterweight, where opponents won't be undersized like they often are at lightweight.
He's a much better striker than people give him credit for. He won all the rounds against Dustin Poirier. In a fight that was pretty much all striking. Everybody's like, wait, Dustin Poirier fought him. It was literally 5-0 and he got submitted.
It's almost like Poirier got his licks, but he got dominated.
Islam's been so good, people judge him differently. I think there are way more interesting fights for him at 170 difference than there is at 155. Because right now, when was the last time he had finished someone? He finished Charles for the belt.
Volk.
Fought Volk. That was close. Didn't finish him, but the second time he finished Volk.
Second time, finished Moicano.
Finished Moicano. Finished Dustin Poirier. He beats them all because they're just...
Arman Tsarukyan also spoke about how much Islam Makhachev has improved since their first fight. He said Islam's striking is much better now, his clinch work has improved, and his cardio, which used to be a weakness, has become a strength. Arman also highlighted that Islam has gained a lot of experience over the years, which he believes is the biggest factor in his overall evolution.
Better do you think Islam's gotten since your debut, where you fought him?
Yeah, he improved his striking, very good. His clinch, his cardio, have bad cardio. His cardio way better, and I mean his experience, of course.
Arman Tsarukyan also shared his thoughts on a potential title fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. He said it would be a tough and evenly matched fight. Arman praised Ilia's boxing skills but pointed out that Ilia has never faced an elite wrestler like Islam before.
Islam and Ilia fought for the... How do you see that one playing out?
It's a tough fight. Ilia better striking, good boxing. He never fought with guys who can wrestle very well like Islam. So we'll say it's a fight.
Do you think they're going to give Ilia the opportunity to fight Islam for the title if it's not you?
I think so. I'm open for everybody from top 5.
Arman Tsarukyan believes both he and Islam Makhachev would be very tough matchups for Ilia Topuria. He pointed out that Topuria hasn't faced many elite wrestlers yet, aside from Bryce Mitchell, whom he managed to handle. Arman feels that against someone like himself or Islam, Topuria would be taken down and controlled with ease. At a hype fighting press conference, Arman said, "Topuria hasn't fought good wrestlers. He only fought Bryce Mitchell, and he took him down and held him there. I know for sure that wrestlers like Islam and myself can take him down and control him on the ground." Meanwhile, Aljamain Sterling praised Ilia Topuria's well-rounded skill set, noting that he has defeated some of the sport's best fighters in dominant fashion. He even brought up Islam's first fight with Alexander Volkanovski, saying it was a surprising challenge for Islam and admitting he initially thought Volkanovski might win.
A huge risk for Islam. Like, do you think he would be the toughest test for Islam at 155 right now?
Well, the first fight with Volk gave him a big surprise. Arguably even won the fight. I watched that fight probably 5 times, and I go back and forth. I'm like, I just felt like Volk won, but I'm not a judge. I don't know if that's biased because I just was hoping for the underdog to win. But just based on what I was watching, I thought Volk did enough to get it 3-2 or maybe even a...
Aljamain Sterling praised Ilia Topuria's well-rounded skill set, saying he has beaten some of the sport's best fighters in dominant fashion. He pointed out that, unlike Alexander Volkanovski, who never had a traditional wrestling base, Ilia comes from a Greco-Roman wrestling background and also has strong jiu-jitsu. From a stylistic perspective, Sterling finds the matchup very interesting and wonders if Islam could rely on more than just his size advantage to win.
I think Ilia Topuria has beaten some of the greatest in unreal fashion, and I think that's undisputable to anybody. And he can wrestle. He doesn't need to do like Volk. Volk's never actually wrestled like traditionally to have that base. Ilia actually has that, even though it was Greco. He has really good jiu-jitsu. It's a very compelling fight. From a stylistic approach, it's just like, well, what does Islam do other than just being the bigger guy?
Tony Ferguson shared advice he gave to Islam Makhachev about moving up in weight, explaining that the body needs time to adjust and stabilize when making such a jump. He stressed the importance of reaching homeostasis, where the body finds its balance, to perform at a high level. Without that adjustment period, he warned, the body might not function properly, comparing it to an elevator jerking up and down. Tony said, "I told Islam to get to that weight and stay there for a while. When you jump from 155 to 170, your body isn't ready and needs time to adjust. Once it reaches homeostasis, everything starts working the right way." Dustin Poirier also shared his thoughts on a potential super fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, calling it a big stretch because of the size difference. He admitted Ilia has the power and technique to knock out anyone from featherweight to welterweight, but pointed out that Islam is a big, strong lightweight with elite wrestling. Poirier believes Ilia should stay at 155 for now and defend his title a few times before moving up to fight someone like Islam.
Who do you think should be next for Ilia?
Who should be next for Ilia? 55 has always been so cloudy at the top. Maybe Gaethje. I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch. You know, Islam's big, man. I've never seen Ilia in person, but he seems smaller. I know obviously he can knock anyone out. I do think if they fight, Ilia can knock anybody out from 45 to 170. He has the skills, the power, the technique, and but we've just never seen him in there with somebody that big and somebody with that caliber of wrestling. But I think he should defend the 55 title a few times before that's talked about. We'll see.
Michael Chandler gave his take on a potential fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, pointing out that Islam would have a clear size advantage. He said Ilia has the edge in striking and praised his patience and power on the feet. However, Chandler warned that if Islam manages to take Ilia down, the fight could completely change because of Islam's elite grappling and strength. In the end, Chandler leaned toward Islam as the favorite because of his size, experience, and title defenses, but he admitted he wouldn't count Ilia out.
Islam fights Ilia. I mean, I think there's definitely a size difference. I think Ilia is a lot smaller than Islam. Islam is a big lightweight, a tall lightweight, and he's good in every area. However, Ilia's definitely got the edge in the striking department, and Ilia is very, very, very patient. Now, if he's able to not get taken down and he's able to just patiently break down Islam with those big shots that he lands, the big punches that he lands, it's going to be a good night for Ilia. But I think if Islam gets his hands on him and gets him taken down, I mean, grappling with 145-pounders is a lot different than grappling with Islam, who is one of the best grapplers that we've seen in a very long time. He's strong. He's great at doing damage and getting good positions. I'd have to give the edge to Islam just by size, by strength of schedule thus far, and defending the belt, but I wouldn't count Ilia.
On the other hand, despite all the hype around the Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov named Jack Della Maddalena as the toughest opponent Islam has ever faced. He believed Maddalena posed a bigger threat than Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria, or anyone else. Khabib highlighted Maddalena's size, power, boxing, and solid grappling as major factors and said preparing Islam for him would be more difficult and exciting than preparing for Ilia. That wraps up everything from today's video. Let us know your thoughts and predictions on this matchup in the comments below.